To the meadows, then.
That's what the captain said.
He said I should be able to find what I'm looking for somewhere nearby. Bright blue dragons and bright yellow flowers. Should be easy enough to spot. This must be our wyvern. All right, let's get this over with. That's the wyvern's liver. Now I just find the herbs. Bright yellow with a heady scent. think that's everything Molly needs to resurrect her recipe. Better head back. Come on. Run like the wind.
The meadows, then.
I can
That's
walk
what the
from
captain
here.
said.
I'll be taking you all to a storehouse in the Bales. Leave anything you don't need.
You know what you have to do. Clive, I fear that I must bid you farewell. As you know, our time grows short. The Lord Chief Justice's vultures are circling. We must strike now. Before we part, I want you to know that though I may not always have been your most vocal ally, I trust you, as I trusted your predecessor.
Thank you. I appreciate the sentiment, and I understand more than anyone how you feel. But is revenge really?
And it is all that I have lived for since that day.
But what of Lostwing? Everything you've built.
I built Lostwing to achieve this aim. Once it is done, the village will have served its purpose. My comrades and I are sure of our cause, and we shall fight to the last, come what may. But there are those among us who cannot fight. Children, the elderly, bearers afflicted by the curse. I would place Lostwing in their hands, if I thought it would do them any good. But a village home only to the frail and the infirm is not likely to stay a safe haven for long. And so, Clive, I find myself turning to you once more. Will you take them to your hideaway, that they might live even should Lostwing die?
I will.
Thank you. I will not have it said that I did not see to the well-being of those who rallied to my cause. The people I speak of have withdrawn to Gotan's Bales, away from danger in case the Black Shields strike.
Understood. I'll make sure they get to the hideaway safely.
Then the last of my preparations are complete. Fare you well, Clive. And may Griga guide us. All of us.
To Gotan's Bales, then, and quickly. Before anyone else finds them. Everyone. Quinton has asked that you come with me. He can no longer guarantee your protection, but I can. There's a safe place I can take you to.
Well, if that's what the Master thinks best. Sid, none of us would be standing here today if it weren't for Master Quinton. We owe him our lives. So we ain't about to start telling him what he should do with his. If he's saying we ain't safe in Lost Wing no more, it's 'cause he ain't coming back. And if that's what has to happen, then so be it. I only hope he can see this through to the end. That we get to see justice done.
I hope so too.
Oi! You lot! Where's everyone else? They ain't already left, have they?
They've gone with Master Quinton.
Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
What's wrong?
I've just come from the Justice's Manor. We have to get Quinton to call off the attack. It ain't just the Black Shields protecting the place. He's got a guard dog and all. A fucking monster. They don't stand a chance against that thing. If I don't get the message to them, they're all gonna fucking die.
No. We can't let this happen. Sid! Don't worry about us. You've got to catch up with him. We can't let Quinton die before that bastard does.
All right. I'll do what I can. Where is this manor?
It's way over to the east, through the woods. Heaven Hall, he calls it.
Promise us, Sid. Promise us you'll do what you can.
Ready, go?
Faster!
Quinton, are you all right?
No. But I am alive. Which is more than I can say for my comrades. They followed me without question all the way here. And they died. For nothing.
This must be the guard dog. Quinton. I'll hold it off. You go.
But
Your comrades didn't die for nothing. They died for you. Don't let their sacrifice be in vain.
I won't.
Come on, then. You're no guard dog. It's a rabid beast that needs to be put down. If only we'd arrived earlier. Is it over?
It is. He wept and begged for mercy. And I cut him from ear to ear. Just as I dreamed of doing all these years. All my plans. Building a haven in Lostwing. Freeing bearers from their chains and recruiting them to my cause. It was all for this. But what is this? Justice? My faithful comrades. All those lives lost. So that I might take another.
Quentin.
Master Quinton! Oh, thank Grieger you're safe.
You're alive.
And so are you. I'm so sorry. I tried to warn you about that thing. And I hate to say it, but there's more bad news. It's Lostwing. It's been flooded.
What? Lostwing. My Lostwing.
And look who's here.
They must have stolen in after we left, just before the flood struck. What if there are still people in there?
Don't be a fool! Damn it. Quinton's not going to last long in there. Come on, Torgal. We need to make this quick. This one. Over here! Go, Torgal! Down, Torgal! need to find Quentin. Quentin! Quentin! Look at me! Thank the Founder. He hasn't turned. I'm going to get you out of here. Welcome back to the land of the living.
Is Lostwing?
The flood has filled the valley.
I see. Then all is at an end. A strange way to achieve one's life's ambition.
No, Master Quentin. Save your strength.
Why? All that I strove for is gone. Only emptiness remains. I have nothing left to live for.
What the heck are you on about? You've got us, ain't you? Don't try telling me you only freed us so you could get revenge. We're more than that to you, and we all know it.
I thought you weren't coming back. But I prayed, and you did. There's got to be a reason for that, right? Can't we just go back to how it was? You know, you looking after us all.
Your work ain't over yet, Master Quentin. We believed that you were the right man to lead us, and we still do.
Your village may be lost, but it seems your people aren't, so long as you remain to guide them.
But why? After what why would anyone follow me?
'Cause we're family, aren't we?
Family?
Yeah, and all our comrades who went with you, they felt the same. Lostwing weren't just a village. It was all of us.
It was. And as long as we're still here, it is too.
We can start again. Build a new Lostwing, right here in the Bales.
A fresh start. One life ends, and another begins. Why just a village? We could build towns. A nation, even. What's to stop us?
That's the Master Quentin we know.
Please. I am nobody's master. Quentin will suffice. After all, we are family. Permit me to withdraw my request. I will no longer be needing your help in looking after my people.
I'll pretend you never asked.
But you must be rewarded for your efforts on our behalf. You saved my life twice over. And more besides.
A bottle or two of your finest red will suffice.
Of course. Nothing but the best. And I have a feeling that this year's vintage will be the finest yet. If you don't mind waiting, that is.
I look forward to it.
I'll build a barricade so sturdy, even a bandicoot.
It doesn't still hurt, does it?
Oh, 1,000 the cash you ask.
Ah, Clive. Just the man I was hoping to see.
Oh? And why is that?
You remember how some of Sir Wade's guardians took up residence here after the Akashic attacked? Well, now the rest have come to join him. Seems their barracks in the Lazarus have been lost to an ether flood. Now, I don't mind having a few more brave boys around to keep them animals at bay. I ain't daft after all. But we ain't got nowhere for 'em to bed down. Poor buggers are having to make do with haylofts and chocobo pens. I'd build 'em a new barracks here if I could. But where would I put 'em? There just ain't enough room up here on the rock. Which leaves us in a bit of a pickle. The people we're counting on to keep us safe are living like beggars.
I see.
And it isn't just that lot. There's bears to think about too. There's been more and more of them turning up lately, coming from all over looking for safe haven. But there's only so many we can shelter with the room we've got. We can't keep cramming more and more people into less and less space. What we need is a new home for our new arrivals. And that's what I was hoping you might help me with. If it ain't too much of a burden, of course.
It's no burden.
Thank you, Clive.
So, where were you thinking of making this new home?
Well, I reckon we could do a lot worse than Eastpool.
Eastpool. It's been a long time since I thought about that place.
It was a tragedy, what happened. And if any of us could have done anything to stop it, we would have. But what's done is done. And those who lived there wouldn't have wanted the village they loved to be left in ruins.
I suppose you're right.
The blight might be pressing in, but I reckon it's got a good few years left in it yet. There's just one problem. A band of cutthroats have made it their den, and they don't seem like they'll be moving on in a hurry. Nasty bastards they are too. I've lost some good men to their raids. Would have sent someone to clear 'em out sooner if my boys didn't already have their hands full fending off the Akashic. But now we've got a few more guardians of the flame to call on. I reckon it's time we made our move. What do you say? Fancy leading a raiding party?
I do. Eastpool was once home to people I loved. I won't have bandits sully those memories. I'll gladly drive them out of there.
And I know the men will gladly follow you. I've already shared a few thoughts with Sir Wade about how we might be able to win the place back. And I dare say he's got some ideas of his own too. Why don't you go and talk to him?
Of course. All right, Sir Wade. Let's hear your plan.
My lord Marquis, is that... Then you received my letter. I am Sebastian Rutherford, chief steward of your lord uncle's estate.
Of course. We met once before.
Yes, my lord. Thank you for coming.
And what was so sensitive that you couldn't put it in writing?
1,000 apologies, my lord. I did not mean to offend. I merely...
It's all right. Continue.
I am here at Martha's Rest, at the behest of your lord uncle, tasked with learning what I am able of the realm's current state of affairs. And what I have learned is grim. The fall of the Mother Crystals has left Storm in a state of utter disarray. The subsequent darkening of the heavens has only made things worse. Akashic attacks, once unthinkable, are now commonplace. The gears of governance have ground to a halt, and without a steady hand on the tiller, the realm threatens to drift into utter chaos. Your Lord Uncle, however, believes there is a way to avoid this fate, and is determined to see it set in motion.
That sounds like quite the undertaking.
It is. Hence my having enlisted the aid of several colleagues serving the 7 high houses. Alas, I have lost contact with 2 of those colleagues already. They are both able-bodied and trained in the sword, yet in these dark times, even that may not prove sufficient to keep a man safe on the road.
So you want me to find them? I'll need to know where they went.
One I sent to investigate the Republic, the other the old Imperial capital of Oriflamme.
That doesn't exactly narrow it down. I suppose I'll start in Dalamil and work my way east.
Thank you, my lord. I shall pray for your success and safety.
It's not going to be easy finding one man in an entire republic. Let's hope someone here's seen something.
Mummy, are the bad men going to come back?
The gentlemen of the town guard are a strapping bunch. Perhaps.
Someone's got himself in trouble.
I don't see your master here, so you can start by giving us all the coppers in your purse.
I already told you, I have nothing.
Then maybe we'll take that pretty outfit and the steel you're wearing.
Please! These men are trying to rob me!
I'll deal with this.
Thank you.
You that one's master, then? If you kindly pay the coin he owes us, we can pretend you didn't draw your blade on Republican soldiers.
Or you can go back to your garrison and I won't report you to your captain.
Oh, you're more than welcome to. He hasn't had many visitors since we slit his throat.
Maruda!
I'd expect as much from Hugo's faithful, but these were men of the fist.
Much has changed in the Republican army since they lost their rock.
You've seen this kind of thing before, then?
Many times. I was sent here to observe the situation.
You're one of Rutherford's men. He sent me to look for you.
Well,
Then you have my thanks. I fancy I could defend myself against one, perhaps two, but a whole regiment. I arrived in Dalimil several days ago, but when I called upon the captain of the local garrison to make inquiries, his men confiscated my effects and locked me in a cell.
The captain is no more, and his men make the rules now.
Fortunately, I was able to bribe my way free, only to be stopped again by those soldiers you so kindly dispatched.
What of the Fist's Central Command? Surely they wouldn't allow such lawlessness amongst their ranks.
I would imagine they are unaware of it. Most of the army has fallen back to the capital and hunkered down behind her walls. Those who weren't recalled now rule the fringes unchecked, answering to no one but themselves.
Then it's worse than we imagined. You should return to Rosaria. It's not safe here.
I'll find a caravan heading north. You won't mind if I borrow one of these soldiers' coin purses?
Not at all. Now, to find this second associate of Rutherford's. If he was bound for Oriflamme, I'll start at Northreach and see if I can pick up his trail.
Inn's full. Don't bother.
So, Wade, it's good to see you well.
And you, Lord Rossfield. And you.
I spoke with Martha. She tells me you have plans to free Eastpool and make it your own.
That's right, though it was mostly her idea. I rather fear my men have been treading on her toes somewhat since joining us, not to mention each other's. And then there are the bearers, men and women who found the courage to flee their masters and sought refuge here. We need somewhere to settle them, and I can think of worse places than Eastpool.
As can I. Which is why I agreed to help you win it back.
That's very kind of you. I'd be most grateful if you would. With you beside us, we shall soon send that rabble of rogues running for the hills.
So, what can you tell me?
That thankfully there aren't too many of them. Fewer than a dozen at our last count. And rather less, thankfully. The road that leads there will more than likely still be crawling with Akashic. A small force would suffice to clear the village, but if the Akashic were to follow them in, that force could end up trapped between a rock and a very hard place indeed.
I'll head into Eastpool and deal with the bandits. You and the Guardians can stay outside the village and fend off any Akashic who come too close. Make sure I'm not taken unawares.
I can't ask you to bear all that risk yourself, my lord.
The Akashic are the bigger risk. I can handle a few bandits.
Well, if you're sure, I shall summon my men at once.
Shall I wait for you here?
No need, my lord. You go on ahead. We'll be with you before long.
All right. I'll meet you at Eastpool then.
We shall see you there. And may victory await our coming.
Think you can just walk in here, kill him?
We'll leave Eastpool now. Or maybe not. What's that thing doing here? Doesn't matter. It goes to... To me, boy! Any more surprises? I'll take that as a no.
Bravo. A magnificent display, my lord.
You were watching? I thought you were keeping an eye out for a Kashik.
We were. Put down more than a few on the road, then arrived just in time to see you slay that... whatever it was.
Let's hope it was the last of its kind. Though I expect you and the Indians will be up to the challenge should another appear.
I would hope so, my lord.
Your men will be bringing the bearers who'll be living here, I assume. It might be best to send word for them to come right away, before any other unsavory characters move in.
Of course. I'll send orders for them to depart immediately. Leave it with me, my lord.
Home. Without masters.
No. We're the masters now. Our lives are our own at last.
That's all of them. And not a single Akashek in sight. Now to begin the important work of rebuilding the place. It won't be easy. Especially not after 5 years of beasts and blackguards having their wicked way with the place. The masonry might still be sturdy enough, but half the beams are rotted. Those that weren't lost in the fire or burned by the bandits, that is. It'll take a bit of elbow grease, but we'll see Eastpool rise again. Just you wait.
So wait. Lady Hannah is buried here. If you don't mind, I'd like Oscar to join the rebuilding efforts. He should be a part of this.
Of course. I couldn't agree more.
I'll let Martha know that everyone arrived safely. If you need anything more, you have only to send a Stolas.
And we will, my lord. Safe travels.
Eastpool is in safe hands. Time to go and tell Martha the good news.
There you are. All went well then. Sir Wade told me you got rid of the bandits while his lot kept an eye out. Nicely done. And what's all this about some shape-shifting nightmare showing up? On second thoughts, don't tell me. It'll only give me nightmares of me own. What matters is you did it, and now we can build our new village.
I suppose it will be. What will you call it?
What else? Eastpool. Sir Wade said it best. There's plenty bad happened to that place, but that don't undo the good that happened there. No need to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Did Wade say that?
Well, something along those lines. Anyway, the poor souls might have made it to Eastpool, but their work ain't done yet. So the way I see it, neither is mine. If it's food or lumber or strong backs they need, the rest is ready to provide it.
Thank you, Martha.
No, thank you. You didn't have to help us.
I wanted to.
Clive, we weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin for your help with our rebuilding efforts. And though I doubt it's what you were expecting, we were hoping you'd take this as payment.
A star ruby? I can't accept this. It's worth at least twice what you owe me. More if you can find yourself the right buyer.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again. Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? I'd have expected Otto. Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts, isn't it? The old goat working himself to death again?
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the hideaway's still standing.
Same as always, eh? Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, word is he was the first one Sid reached out to. Probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. If I recall, he was the one who nominated you as Sid's replacement, and rallied the rest around you. I reckon what he saw in Sid, he saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither. That, and you keep good company.
I suppose I do.
So, did you have that word with Tomes then?
I did, and he was as helpful as ever. He told me exactly where to look, in fact.
And what precisely will I be cooking up? Or is it better not to know?
Blueback wyvern liver. And, a herb known as Saint's Bonnet.
Ah, wyvern livers, was it? Well, at least it weren't actual worms, I suppose. Now then, you stay right where you are. I've got some cooking to do. Let's hope these grand old chefs of yore knew what they were on about. And here we have it. Fried mortress of skyworm. Ivan's offered to make sure it's fit for consumption. Well, I say offered. He as good as begged.
And rightly so. Is there any higher honour than partaking in a slice of culinary history?
So, not fit for consumption then?
What witchery is this? The crackle of the crust gives way to an almost violent richness. Yet, it is the piquant kiss of the saint's bonnet that tames this savage dish. It is a tour de force. A force of nature, even. A maelstrom of flavour and sensation. A graceful beast emerging from centuries of slumber.
I think he likes it.
Well, I can't quite tell with all that nonsense he's talking. But I reckon you might be right. It was decent then, I take it.
Decent? It's remarkable. And I defy any man to say a word to the contrary. Sid, might I suggest that you command a party of your finest men and women to procure a dozen blueback wyverns forthwith?
I'll give it some thought.
Let me help. I know my letters. Most...
Good morrow to you, my friend. I have a few new notes that might interest you. You wish to study the tomes?
Who's that sulking over there by the lift?
Said her name was Yose.
If it's knowledge you seek, we've tomes aplenty to guide you in your search.
Cole said it was an army of Akashnik. What will happen to me?
How are we supposed to do our duty when the hills are crawling with a cat?
Back again? What is it that you wish to learn?
The state of the realm is ever-changing, Clive.
Clive? But if you're here, where the hell is everyone else? Don't tell me.
They're all right. But it's a long story.
You lot don't do things by halves, do you? Well, at least everyone's still breathing. Now, as for these writings, I'm sorry to say, Clive, but if you had those, you'd be...
Sitting under a pile of rubble, I know.
But we were able to save a few bits and pieces from the ruins, most of which ended up being used to build this place. The more personal items we gave to the next of kin. In the case of Sid's things, that would have been mid.
Then I'll check the workshop.
If Amber and the Lazarus are gone,
Do you think this ship will ever sail?
Will we ever see the sky again?
Have you noticed there are more ether floods these days? Some say the skies are to blame. But then, there were ether floods before all this, weren't there? Makes you
This looks like it's from Sid's old diary. But you'll already have read it. I'd better keep looking. What do we have here? Oh. Sid's pipes. Something tells me Mid won't be needing these. I remember seeing this doll in Sid's cellar. I wonder if it was Mid's. What's this tucked inside it? Sid's best invention. Huh. That sounds promising. So Sid hid something in Mid's first opus. What would that be? Perhaps Otto might know.
Well, did you find anything?
Possibly. You wouldn't happen to know what Mid's first opus was?
Opus? That girl's as tone deaf as a banshee. Unless you mean the orchestrion. She couldn't have been more than, what, 11, 12 when she cobbled that thing together? It surprised us all. Not least her dad. You should have seen how proud he was of the little scamp. What's that battered old box had to do with anything?
I think Sid may have hidden something inside it.
Wouldn't surprise me. Those two and their bloody treasure hunts. Half the things in the hideaway were hidden one time or another.
How are we supposed to do our duty when the hills are crawling with a Kashik and the valleys are full of ether?
Who's that so?
I didn't break it. Well, I didn't break it.
What didn't you break?
Nothing. We didn't break nothing. We definitely didn't break the orchestrion.
What's wrong with it?
It's broken. Except when it isn't. See?
And you had nothing to do with this?
Nope. Nothing. We just wanted to listen to all the songs at once. So we press all the buttons. Like this. See?
All too well. All right, out of the way. Something caught on one of the gears.
Did you break it? Can you fix it?
No, I mean, yeah, yes. There. How about now?
You fixed it! Sid fixed it! He more than fixed it! Yeah, new music!
Huh. Never heard this one before.
They started playing when I removed this. Whatever it is.
Well, don't look at me. I can tell you it's important, though. Sid showed it to me once and said as much. Said it was the stuff dreams were made of. Let's just hope it's the stuff ships are made of as well.
Indeed. Let's see if we can make some dreams come true.
Just the two I was looking for.
Aye, aye. Lose a patient?
Actually, yes. The Crown Prince just left.
Dion left?
Unless you've another word for stood up and walked off. Yes, left. He did have the decency to leave a message with Obelisk before commandeering one of his dinghies. Should we go after him?
No. We're not the Prince's keepers. He's free to do as he sees fit.
I'd rather he did so in bed. His wounds are nowhere near healed. Much like yours, I suspect. Otto told me what happened in Canver. What is it with this realm's princes and their aversion to rest?
Ask me when I get back. Though I may be sometime.
Then at least try to stay safe.
And if that fails, try to stay alive, eh?
Every moment I waste here, the further the flagship sails. I have to get back.
He's a surly soul.
Sid, do you recall the flowers I had you bring back to the yard?
Vaguely. Is something wrong?
I'm afraid so. I was able to get most of the Morganbeards to take root, but they rarely flower. I fear the soil here does not agree with them. However, I believe I have a solution.
I can't wait to hear it.
I'm going to marry the Morganbeards with Morbles. I know, but hear me out. Morbles are possessed of a highly choleric temperament. The fire which drives them appears to be maintained by an abundance of nutrient-rich ether drawn from their environs. I believe that by grafting a Morble vine to a Morganbeard, the appendage's wealth of vigor-inducing nutrients might well stimulate the flower to bloom. The endeavor, I assure you, is scientifically sound. I simply need a vine to prove the theory.
And all you need is a single vine from an ordinary Morble.
That is correct. A single vine. As for the Morble, I fear ordinary may not suffice. But, as luck would have it, a most extraordinary specimen is rumored to haunt the swamps of Rosaria. Why, a notice concerning this very creature was only recently posted on the hunt board.
How timely.
Well, I shan't keep you any longer. I know you have much to do, as do I. Now, where did I put my watering can?
Sid! Heard you were in Canva fetching young Med.
Miss Shirley, how can we learn to be clever like Miss Mididol?
If Amber and the Lazarus are gone, then...
Then everyone
She can't get... Glory to Griga. There you are. And not a moment too soon.
What's happened?
Taya's busy working herself into an early grave. Since the arrival of her latest patient, she's refused to stop, even for a moment. I've tried offering to see to him in her stead, but she won't hear of it. Clive, she hasn't left the infirmary in days. She's pushing herself too hard. And if she doesn't rest soon, will you talk to her? Order her to her chambers if that's what it takes. Because if she keeps this up, I fear the hideaway will be without its best physica before too long.
I know better than to order Taya to do anything. But I'll speak to her.
Thank you. I pray you have better luck than I did.
Well, Taya, Rodriguez worried about you. And if what he says is true, then so am I. We all admire your dedication, but you do need to rest.
I will, when it's time. Until then, I'm staying put. We owe him that much.
Who is he?
Someone from my past. Someone who doesn't deserve to die alone. It won't be much longer. The crystal's curse has almost finished its work. If I had the tears, I could ease his passing. But without them, we've nothing that will touch the agony of those last few hours.
How would tears help this man?
Not my tears. Tears of mercy. Alicia, it's the only thing strong enough.
You wouldn't, Taya. Surely. There must be something we can do for him.
Sometimes an easy death is the greatest kindness we can offer. You do well to remember that, Rodriguez.
I will. We have all the ingredients we need for Alicia Balwam. It needs to be fresh, though, so we rarely have much to hand. I can make the draft if you can bring me what we're missing.
Just tell me what you need.
There is a species of venom-weeping spider that lives in the forests of Norvent, near Lorbert's Pass. Bring me one of their eyes. Preserve it as best you can, but avoid contact with the tears. I'll make sure the other ingredients are ready before you return.
Thank you, Clive. I won't forget this.
You mentioned his spiders were the size of cows.
It's over.
Hopefully one will be enough. Rodrigo will have prepared the other ingredients by now. There's a lot of road between here and the capital. Rutherford's man could be anywhere.
A little unrest.
Let the dame hear you say that.
What happened here?
If you're with the others, they've already relieved me of my belongings.
I'm not. I'm looking for someone who was sent here by a man named Rutherford.
And then you found him. I'm Alistair Rockford, attendant to the Lady Ariane of House Wellesley.
Of the 7 high houses of Rosaria. It's been A long time since last I saw my great-aunt. Is she well?
My Lord Marquis? Yes. Yes, she is. The Lady Dowager has granted me leave to assist your Uncle Stuart. I was on my way back from the old capital when I saw some villagers being robbed on the road here.
Bandits?
They looked more like field hands, but it didn't matter in the end. I did what I could to help the victims, but all it earned me was a pommel to the temple.
Which way did they go?
South, toward the gate.
All right. I'll take care of them. Founder knows I've met enough of their kind. You head back to Northreach, visit the Vale, tell them I sent you.
Thank you. I shall. Founder be your shield.
They just couldn't resist, could they?
This one's ours, pretty boy.
Make for the town while you can. There may be more bandits nearby.
You don't need to tell me twice. Many thanks, traveler.
This looks to be all of them.
I thought I told you to make for the Vale.
And stand by as ill might befall the heir to the ducal throne.
It's just Clive, and I'm fine. Which is more than can be said for you.
I will survive.
Strange that the garrison wouldn't intervene in such a brazen attack so close to their gates.
The garrison have their hands full inside the city. Some days they don't even send out patrols. There are few hands left to work the fields, and even fewer to transport the grain. The market stalls are nearly bare, and the price for what remains is exorbitant. It's not uncommon to see a fight break out over a crust of bread. When I said the ones who attacked me didn't have the look of bandits, I meant it. They were probably just desperate.
Rockford, listen to me. If you are to continue your investigation, you first need to seek the attention of a healer.
Of course. I shall return to Northreach right away. But allow me to thank you first. Had you not happened along,
Don't thank me. Thank Rutherford. It was he who sent me.
I suppose he'll be wondering where I've got to. I shall send a Pistolus as soon as I'm able. Good day.
My uncle certainly has his work cut out for him. If it isn't already too late. I should go and tell Rutherford that his colleagues are still in one piece.
There were ghosts at the gates not days ago.
Those things I said before about not being able to fight.
Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion. Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto asked me to give it to you. To settle the Hideaway's debt with the Veil. And to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me. Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing, nor does the Hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did you a kindness. I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the Hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did. Besides Sid, I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence. An ill habit, given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that. Gob will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us. I see you're still here.
The Rest's location affords a constant flow of traders, and with it, a constant flow of information. Speaking of which, I received word from both my associates. They have resumed their investigation.
I only happened to be in the right place at the right time. They both seem to think the realm's prospects rather grim.
I am afraid that grim would be putting it lightly. Storm is in crisis, and if we are to free her, we must work quickly. And we must work together. Such is your Lord Uncle's wish.
As it is mine.
Cole said it was an army of Akashic. What will happen to Mid and the others?
Goat. Still alive, I see. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, about that. I tried my best, but she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, wonderful. I hope you have better luck than I did.
Thank goodness you're back. Taya looks like she's about to collapse.
Is this what you needed?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Clive. I'm loath to give a patient Alicia, but Taya's right. Sometimes it's all we can do. A single dose dulls even the most agonizing pain, and all other sensation with it. It may be a gentle way to die, but it is death nonetheless. I wish there was another way.
How are you feeling?
Light, mid-here. Drifting on waves.
Good. Just relax. Let the waves carry you to a better place.
Thank you, Taya. I'm so proud of you.
He's gone. Thank you, Rodrigue. And you, Clive?
I'll see that he's properly laid to rest.
The man you helped today was my mentor, back in the Southern Isles, on the front lines of some meaningless war. I was still a child when they shipped me to their triage tents, to treat the wounded with my gift. But in such blighted lands, I was next to useless. Until he taught me the true physicker's art, that is.
An art we would be lost without.
Tears of mercy were his gift to the bearers of the world. A respite from the agony of the curse's end.
And a kindness Sid would have approved of.
You know as well as I what life is like for a bearer soldier. Marched from one battle to the next, never knowing which might be your last. A commander may care nothing for the bearer spent in his service, but my mentor's gift gave the dying one fleeting moment of tranquility before the end. I've no tears left, Clive. I've seen too many of my friends taken. Something needs to change. And we need to be the ones to change it.
And we will. I promise.
I hope so.
Lady Karen, Goad tells me you weren't happy with our offer. Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you lot me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the Hideaway's coffers, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Of course not. But one good turn deserves another. And our circumstances have changed. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself and ask twice as much. Might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile in commerce. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it's always a pleasure doing business.
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh, so you remember what's owed to you then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square.
Right away.
I've seen that before.
You have, yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used. Either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died. 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long nights, we set up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that. On account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him, forget what I felt, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. His ranks, his ribbons, gone. Just like that. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man to the ends of the earth. was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. Love you, you grumpy old sod.
This note.
Hmm? What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction, and I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather goat were at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have.
Cole said it was an army of Akashi. What will happen to Mid and the others?
If it's knowledge you seek, we've bones aplenty to guide you in your search.
Which song should we listen?
Let me help. I know my letters.
Knowledge hoarded is knowledge. What subject shall we consider today?